All right. So whenever we talk about uh, the homeostasis, so homeostasis is basically controlling the internal environment to make it to keep the internal environment at the set point, at the normal conditions which your body has are limited. Just wait a minute. Okay, so for the blood glucose control, right? First of all, we need to discuss, as you know, that you can see the syllabus content. The first point is explain the need to control blood glucose concentration. So, first of all, you people must have an idea that why the control of blood glucose is important, why it is not recommended, why we should not care that if it is controlled or not. The first and the foremost thing is that uh, blood glucose is the important source. As you know, that glucose is the primary source of energy in our body, and our body use it for the respiration, and the respiring cells basically take in the glucose and within the presence of oxygen convert it into energy. Carbon dioxide and waters are produced. So if there is less amount of glucose, then the rate of respiration will basically suffer, right? The body would have to go to another pathway, another route of producing energy, which is actually first of all convert. Let's say that if glucose or glycogen are present, carbs are not present basically na, then body would have to go to basically uh, decompose your lipids which are there, right? So it's a long process, and till that, in that time period, you would be feeling tiring and fatigue in your body. Plus obviously your brain cells, as perhaps we have earlier discussed, that your brain cells, they transfer the nerve impulse, and transferring nerve impulse energy is a must. And if glucose and oxygen is not supplied to the nerve cells, they basically die, right? So it is very important to have a normal range of glucose, to have a normal amount of glucose in your body, right? And we must also know that what are some values that our body basically have for the glucose level, right? And whenever if the glucose increases from that level, then what happens? Then if the glucose level increases, then basically it thickens your blood as well. And thickening blood means slow blood pressure, as well as the difference in the water potential of the blood and the adjacent cells. Because if there is so much glucose in your blood, it means that the osmotic pressure or the water potential difference will cause the water to move out of the adjacent cells into the blood of because of the osmosis. As you know that in osmosis, the water moves from higher concentration to low concentration. Now this movement of water will make the cells shrink, the adjacent cells shrink, because they are losing their water just to make the water potential equal in the blood, right? So this is something that we need to care, right? And moreover, we have some blood proteins are well which would be affected as well. Let's say that if the blood, basically if the glucose level, that is if there is less water, if the water potential of the blood decreases, basically the red blood cells will also lose their water, right? So the red blood cells losing their water means they will shrink, they will crenate, they may stick with each other. If they may stick with each other, they may cause the clumping as well, the clotting as well. So they can have it can have a catastrophic effect on the body. So that's why it has to be remained in a normal condition. Now the concentration of glucose in the blood of a person, which has not eaten for 8 hours, which we used to call as fasting, it should remain between 90 and 200 mg per 100 ml blood, right? And after a meal, the blood sugar level may should be to 140, right? 2 hours later, right? And then after the 2 hours, it should go back to 95 or like that. So, what are the ranges? Let me write here that the ranges for fasting blood, wait, fasting blood glucose values should be for a normal person, right? It should be between 90 to 100 mg, right, per 100 ml, right, and of blood. And after meal, it should not go further, like 140, up to 140. Now, if these are the values for a normal person, right? So these are the set points values, you could say that. So if our blood glucose values are more than 90 to 100 in fasting, whenever you have not eaten more than 8 hours, you have only drinking water will not affect it. So if you have not eaten anything for last 8 hours, if your blood glucose level is more than 90 to 100, let's say it's 120, 130, like that. So these are the symptoms of diabetes, but we won't be discussing. But what happens that actually what your blood does, what your body does, that whenever these are the values, this is actually the value that your body wants that your blood should have. This is the value when you eat meal, and it goes up like to up to 140 mg, but your body makes it to return after 2 hours. Now the body works on it and makes it to return to, let's say, to mg after 2 hours. Means after having a meal, because you are having meals, so you are eating starches and other sugars, so that's why your blood glucose levels becomes higher. But your body, and when it becomes higher from this point to this point, your body works on this value. Your body detects it that there is a high glucose level, so your body works on it and make it to 95 mg within 2 hours. Although it is not done quickly, I mean 2 hours is a time, but since it is done by hormones, as you know that hormonal control is a bit slower as compared to nervous impulse. Because let's say that if you're feeling cold, your body will not take 2 hours to make you feel shivered or like that, or the vasoconstriction, it is done within minutes or within seconds, right? But because it was done with the nervous impulse, as we had discussed that at that time the effector was not the glands. Whenever the effectors are gland, endocrine gland, so secreting hormone takes time, and then the traveling of hormone towards the target organ and to make it to work, it takes time. I hope you people are understanding what I mean to say. So this is what you need to understand, that this takes time because it is actually controlled by the hormones, and hormones take time to do their job, right? So what happens that you can see that there is a cycle, right? In the negative feedback, what happens in the negative feedback, whenever any value that goes up or down, a corrective mechanism starts to basically to set it to make it to the normal set point, right? So let's say that the body condition is the blood glucose level, let's say that it increases after meals, right? So the endocrine gland produce hormone 1. Now what you need to understand that which hormone it is, which is the endocrine gland. Well, that is the pancreas, right? Pancreas is the endocrine gland, and it secretes Which hormone? It is insulin. Now, insulin function is to lower the blood glucose level. This is what you need to remember, right? Now, insulin function is to lower the blood glucose level. And what does it do? It basically increases the cell permeability, right? So, function of insulin, right, which is a hormone, endocrine hormone, right? And its function is to it increases the cell permeability, right, for glucose. Means it basically makes the cell to make the glucose enter fast into the cell, so that whatever the glucose amount, which is extra glucose amount there in the blood, the extra glucose may enter into the cell and the blood glucose level become normal first. Now, if the glucose will go inside the cell, either it will be consumed for the respiration, right, or either it will be converted into glycogen, right? So, another, it basically insulin instructs liver cells to convert extra glucose into glycogen. Now, glycogen is basically storage form of glucose and it's insoluble, right? Insoluble carbohydrate it is. And if you remember our topic 4, a biological molecule topic, then you must remember that we had discussed that because of the insolubility, the insoluble polysaccharides like starch and glycogen, they basically do not disturb the water potential because they are insoluble. So that's why they do not disturb the water potential of the cell, even if they are in lot of quantity inside the cell, they won't disturb, right? And what disturb? The soluble sugars always disturb, even if it is glucose, maltose, sucrose, all of them are soluble simple sugars, so they disturb the water potential. So that's why the our cell in our human body or in plant, in order to prevent the disturbance of the water potential inside or outside of the cell, the glucose is converted into an insoluble form, glycogen, which is a storage form of carbohydrate, right? So basically it has two function. Insulin, it increases the cell permeability and it also instruct the liver cells to convert to the extra glucose. Now effect of insulin secretion, blood glucose level decreases, right? But insulin works till the time when the blood glucose level becomes normal. When the blood glucose level become normal, it basically stops working. It goes to the liver where it is metabolized. It does not keep on working 24 by 7, because if it will be keep on working 24 by 7, our blood glucose level will be lower down. We may die because all the glucose will go inside the cell and it will be converted into glycogen, right? So insulin is only secreted whenever we have a high blood glucose level, right? And whenever the blood glucose level becomes normal, it stops working. And now the second condition is increase. Now that was the basically increase. Now let's say that if the blood glucose level decreases, sometimes when we do not eat, sometimes we do not eat take carbs, our blood glucose level lowers down, right? At that time, one of the endocrine gland, and which endocrine gland? Well, this is the pancreas. The same pancreas is secreting insulin, which lowers down the glucose, and it also secretes glucagon. Now, what is a glucagon? Glucagon is a hormone. Now, pancreas has islets of Langerhans, right? Islets of Langerhans are the specialized cells. They are also called beta cells, right? Now, pancreas is a endocrine and exocrine gland. Being as an exocrine gland, it secretes pancreatic enzyme. What happens when glucose get increased? This is what we have discussed, bete, that whenever the blood glucose level increases, pancreas secretes insulin. And when pancreas eats insulin, insulin basically lowers down the glucose. How it lowers down the glucose? By increasing the cell permeability of for the glucose, and it instruct liver cells to convert extra glucose into glycogen, insoluble carbohydrate, right? This way. And whenever the blood glucose levels become normal, it stops working, insulin goes to the liver where it is metabolized, right? Now the second is glucagon. Let's say that if the blood glucose level decreases, if not use insulin and it gets increased means side effect. This is what we will be discussing in diabetes. Right now I'm discussing homeostasis of a normal person, but what happens when there is the insulin not working properly, or the insulin is released in low amount? This is what we are going to discuss in diabetes. So for hold on that till then, let me discuss the glucagon first, and then we will be moving towards the diabetes, right? So for the glucagon, right, glucagon is released by the same pancreas, right? And whenever the blood glucose levels lower down, so this glucagon is released from the pancreas and secretes into the blood and goes to the liver cell and instructs the liver cells to convert the stored glycogen into glucose. Now this glucose which is converted by the glycogen, this is released into the blood, and this will increase the level of the blood glucose level. And once the blood glucose level is settled to the normal set point, that is 90 to 100 mg per 100 ml, right, then glucagon stops working and it goes to the liver for its metabolization. Hormones are metabolized once they stop working. They do not remain roaming in the blood throughout the day or like that, until and unless they have a work to do. Like for example, if we talk about some reproductive hormones, like the hormones of the menstruation cycle, they remain there in our body for days. But this insulin and glucagon, they do not remain there for days. They are just for few hours. After they are working for the few hours, they are metabolized, right? And it is very important to metabolize them, because if they will be there in our blood, they will be keep on working, they will be keep on in uh, active state. So they have to be inactivated, otherwise they will be active and they will be doing. For example, if glucagon does not stop working, right, it will be asking liver to come to convert glycogen continuously into glucose, which will actually increase our blood glucose level, right? So this happens. So that was the effect of the insulin. Now the function of glucagon. Glucagon itself doesn't do anything except instructing, except targeting the liver cells, right? So its target organ is liver. You should know what are the target organs of every hormone, right? And when we will be doing the menstruation cycle, so in menstruation cycle, we will be discussing 3 to 4 hormones, right? And these 3 to 4 hormones, we will be basically discussing what are their target organs. So you need to remember the target organ for insulin is liver cells, right? And same for this, right? Function glucagon, it is also the liver cells. The target organs are liver cells. So instructs the liver cell to convert Now, what happens? We have also discussed that in the adrenal gland secretion that whenever we have adrenaline in our body, whenever we are stressful in a stressful condition, the adrenaline, what happened? It does that. It basically instructs the liver cells to convert. Basically, it adrenaline goes to the pancreas. Now it has a double impact, that it has a target organ, pancreas release glucagon in a stressful condition, and that glucagon goes to the liver cell and ask to convert the glycogen into glucose. So even if we do not require it, right, this is not something that is sensed by our body. Actually, this blood glucose increase is not sensed by our body. This was done by the adrenaline, right? It did not realize that we do not need extra glucose is already there in normal amount in our blood, but it goes to the pancreas and it instructs that release glucagon, because this is a challenging situation, this is a stressful situation, we might need more energy. So that's why we might need more glucose. And that's why those people, usually the people who have diabetes, uh, they have not a good control of glucose. That's why they have high diabetes, they have high sugar levels during stress, because already they have low insulin levels, right? In diabetic patients, they have insulin low levels, instruct their liver cells to convert the. So taking stress in diabetes patient, it's not healthy for them. It's not right for them. It's actually having a negative impact. And what is the effect? So this is what some of the students make a mistake, that they basically confuse with glycogen and glucagon, right? So please remember these spellings. What is the spelling of glucagon? What is the spelling of glycogen? Right? So you should remember the difference in these two uh, spellings. Okay, and now we will be discussing what happens in the diabetes, right? If you see in your syllabus, they want you to discuss the type 1 diabetes. Now, I will be discussing both diabetes so that you people may have an idea that what is diabetes, right? So, diabetes is basically the high levels of glucose in a person after meals, right? Or in the fasting, right? In fasting state, even if they are fasting, they have higher level of glucose, right? And they are quite higher, right? They are quite higher, that which are not considered normal. For example, if we say that whenever we take a meal, I mean, if it is very, very sweet, it's still a normal person's sugar level does not exceed by 140. But in these patients, it goes up to 200, 250, 300, or like that, right? Or uh, even if they are fasting, their levels do not decrease, right? So that there are some reason. We will be discussing now the new, actually the previously it used to thought that that diabetes is because of the reason that the insulin is secreted, the hormones which is responsible for making the blood glucose level lower, right? It is insulin. Perhaps the insulin is releasing in a low amount, or it is not released, right? So on the basis of theory, the diabetes was divided into two types: type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, right? Now, in type 1 diabetes, actually, what happens? Insulin stops secreting, Now, in this situation, in type 1 diabetes, your beta cells, right? Your beta cells of pancreas or islets of Langerhans, beta cells or the islets of Langerhans, right? They stop secreting. They are damaged, either they are modified, or either they have been attacked by the immune system, right? Actually, type 1 diabetes happens because of uh, problem called autoimmune diseases. Do you know what are autoimmune diseases? Right, autoimmune disease means that your body starts to recognize own cells as foreign cells, and your white blood cells start to attack their own cells, in which the pancreas beta cells are attacked by the body own immune system, and due to this attack the beta cells are damaged. They are unable to secrete insulin, right? So if there is no insulin, the blood glucose levels of these patients type 1 diabetes, it goes up to 400 to 500 mg per 100 ml after having meals. Can you imagine the diabetes level, the sugar levels go up to 400 to 500. This is too much. It means that none of the glucose is going inside the cell. The glucose is only the glucose is absorbed into the blood from from the villi, right? And it's in hepatic portal vein, and it is roaming around in your blood, but it's not being absorbed. Your liver cells are not taking in the glucose, and they're not converting it into glycogen. And why is that so? Because there is no insulin, there is no hormone which may instruct liver cells to do this. So their sugar levels are too higher. And let's say this is after meals, right? And during fasting, let's say that if they have not eaten, if these patients have not eaten for a longer period of time, what happens? That their sugar levels falls, and their sugar levels falls to 40 to 50 mg per 100 ml. Now, these are very, very low levels of blood glucose level, and a person may get unconscious, a person may get faint because of that low level of glucose. Right, so that's why in both conditions, these both conditions are very, very harmful for the person, because too much sugar in your blood means your cells will stop, where your cells, your red blood cells, your blood cells will start to give away water by osmosis in the blood to make the water potential normal, right? And if you do not have that much, for example, if your blood sugar levels slow down, you will be like you will have no energy, your nerve cells may die, right? And your nerve cells, right? So this is what you need to remember. So type 1 diabetes is quite and this actually occurs in a very early age. Now this is right, it's not basically, it occurs in early age. And how we can treat it? We can only treat by, right, only treatment is only the administration of insulin. Administration of insulin means you have to give the person insulin hormone externally by injections, so that the hormone which is unable to be made in that person, you will be providing it, right? So this is the only solution for these type 1 diabetic patients, and actually their condition is very worse. You have to keep on check their insulin levels. After meals they get so much higher, right? And because your glucose is not going inside the liver, so the liver is not converting into glycogen, right? So if there is no glycogen, and if you are not eating, so what would be converted into glucose? So if there are no reservoirs of glycogen, because since the insulin is absent, right, the reservoirs are very, either they are zero, or either they are very small reservoirs of glycogen. So the very less amount of glycogen is there, which is converted into glucose, but that won't be enough if you do not eat for a longer periods of time, right? So type 1 diabetes, and why it just happen, usually it's an autoimmune disease, right, where your body, your beta cells or the islets of Langerhans in pancreas uh, are attacked and damaged by the body's immune system, right? Now, the next is type 2 diabetes, right? Now, what happens in type 2 diabetes? In type 2 diabetes is basically it occurs due to the few of the reason. And what are those reason, right? Reasons for its occurring. Number one, inheritance, means if there is a diabetes situation. How can type 1 diabetes, ma'am, so insulin is injected in the patient with type 1 diabetes. Actually, insulin is also injected in type 2 diabetes, but let me discuss the type 2 diabetes, then you will be then you will understand that when insulin is injected in type 2 diabetes, but yes, but in type 1 diabetes there is no solution except injecting the insulin 2 to 3 times. Yes, every time whenever they are taking the meals, they are having breakfast, lunch, dinner, they have to take the insulin. Like type 2 happens due to sweets. No, 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 no. Yes, let me discuss the reason for the type 2 diabetes. Number one, inheritance, means if it is there in your family, if your father, if your mother is a diabetic patient, or if in your maternal family or in your fraternal family, like in your dadiyal or naniyal, having anyone like your uncles, your grandparents, if they have it, right, this is what we are going to discuss in inheritance, that how the genes which are recessive, if your parents are carrier, let's say that if they do not have a diabetes but you have it, perhaps your parents are the carrier, there must be diabetes in your family, right? So if one of your parent is diabetic, it means that you have received the genes of diabetes from your parents, right? Right, so that's why the one of the reason is inheritance. Secondly, obesity. How obesity means having a lot of weight, those who are very chubby and those who are overweight patients, because the insulin is secreted by their body in a particular amount. When your weight is increased, so obviously there is more requirement of insulin from the pancreas, but your pancreas can secrete up to a limit, but you have crossed, I mean you are overweight, and because of that the insulin amount which is secreted by your body from your pancreas is not sufficient, right? So this is one of the reason. And why sweets, I mean eating sweet does not cause diabetes actually, right? This is that you must remember. Eating sweets can only cause diabetes that if you start to gain weight. Whenever you are eating lots of carbohydrates, whenever you are eating fries, potatoes, or sugar coated donuts, cakes, cookies, all these things have so much simple sugars. Now these simple sugars basically they are not converted into glycogen all the time. Beside converting into glycogen, they are converted into lipids as well. So they are being stored in your body as lipids. So if they are stored in your body as lipids, you'll start gaining weight. And gaining weight means the secreted insulin won't be sufficient for that weight, right? So that's why obesity is one of the reason, inheritance, and indirectly your sedentary lifestyle, right? So lifestyle actually, right? If you do not exercise, if you do not walk, if you only eat and eat throughout the time and you are a couch potato, then type 2 diabetes would be there, right? So these are one of the reason, but type 1 diabetes reason is the autoimmune disease, right? This is the reason why it happens. It does not occur, even the type 1 diabetes occurs in the small kids, the young kids, 2 years, 3 years, sometimes 10 years, 15-year teenagers, they are being suffering. Even if they are not overweight, they are fine, they are skinny, but just is it is an autoimmune disease, it may occur to anyone, the type 1 diabetes. But type 2 diabetes occurs if there it is in your family, right? If you are obese, if you're overweight, or if your lifestyle is not healthy, you do not exercise, you do not walk, you throughout the time you only sit, you take lots of carbs in your diet. So that's why, right? Now in type 2 diabetes, your insulin does not stop secreting, actually it is secreting, but in a low amount. So usually, primarily when the diabetes is diagnosed, right? So the doctor, for the type 2 diabetes, doctors suggest you, they suggest treatment. If I say treatment, maybe like healthy eating, if initially to control, actually it is control sugar. Here the sugar cannot be controlled, but here your sugar levels can be controlled by healthy eating, exercising, taking medicine initially. Now these medicines basically increase the insulin working. Actually they basically catalyze the insulin working, whatever the insulin that is being released in your body, these medicine actually makes it more efficient, right? Initially doctor do not give a type 2 diabetic patient insulin as a source of treatment. They ask them to have healthy eating, do not take too much carbs, stop eating sugary things, and exercise, walk, right? So this decreases their sugar levels, right? Secondly, they give them medicines, and these medicines actually, how do they work? They basically increase the efficiency of these medicine, increase the efficiency of insulin, right? Because insulin is secreting in your body somehow. It's not that your beta cells are not working, your beta cells are what working, but that insulin is actually not enough for your body, right? For that condition, doctor asks you to lose weight. This will lower down your blood glucose level, right? And usually this type 2 diseases occur in later age, like in from 30 onwards, people whenever, because after 30 people start to gain weight and there it occurs. So it may occur in 30s, 40s, 50s, or like that. And in the this type 1 disease, that basically occurs in early age, right? So this is the difference between these two diseases. Here the treatment is only the administration of insulin, and here you the first they give you medicine. But let's say that if you are unable to do exercise, and if the sugar blood glucose level is not controlled because with the medicine, then they prescribe you insulin, right? So this is what you need to remember. Now this is for your the type 1. Okay, you also must know the symptoms of diabetes, right? Whenever you are having diabetic, right? If someone is having diabetes, what are the symptoms without checking your blood glucose from a glucometer? Number one is frequent urination. Those peoples, they have who are diabetic and their diabetes has not been diagnosed yet, they usually suffer from frequent urination, right? They have to visit washroom a lot of time, right? Second is that thirst, thirsty, they feel thirsty, right? Because here in your blood the water potential has been decreased, so your body is actually feels like that it requires water, because water from the cells is releasing into the blood, so the cell want the water. That's why they feel thirsty, right? And fatigue, right? Fatigue in muscles. Now why do they feel fatigue in muscles? Because if the glucose is not going inside the cells, The mitochondria is not having the glucose to carry out my respiration. So less glucose is available in the cells for respiration. So less respiration means less energy. So these uh, it may show up early age if that person get obese, if that person is overweight. Let's say that if someone's parent has diabetes, right, they must be having the genes of diabetes in them, right? For example, both the parents are one of the both the parents are diabetic, or one of the parent is diabetic and the another is a carrier, or like that, that person must be having the genes in them, right? So if that person is inactive, having a sedentary lifestyle, obese, right, so they can get it even in their teens, they can get. But if the lifestyle is fine, if the lifestyle is fine, they do not sugary materials, they are not basically having obesity, then they will be getting it, they will get it surely, but later in life. So what is suggested for the type 2 diabetes, that if the diabetes is there in your family, have a very active lifestyle, must exercise, must walk, do not eat sugars, keep your weight in control. You should have a very healthy BMI, right? And this will help you get the diabetes in the old age, not in the young age. But if you will be keep on eating the fats and all, you will get obese. Your pancreas secreted insulin won't be sufficient for your body to control that sugar level as per your body mass, right? So these are some of the symptoms. And as well as glucose is there in urine. Whenever their urine is tested in a healthy normal person, there is 0% glucose in the urine. But when the person is diabetic, there is lots of glucose, because your body cannot keep up with that. So that's why glucose is excreted through your urine. And this is one of the signs uh, a diabetic person can have. If anyone has diabetes and it happens to any of parent after our birth due to any consequence or other, then we will inherit. See, diabetes, if your parents got the diabetes as a type 1 diabetes, right, then you will not inherit it, because type 1 diabetes is not inherited. Type 1 diabetes is just the incident, it's like an accident, right? This is not there in your genes, right? But if your family has a history of autoimmune diseases, if your mother, father, if your grandparents, they have a history of autoimmune diseases, then you may have chance to inherit the autoimmune disease, right? Then you may have a chance to get it. But mostly the diabetes which we inherit is type 2 diabetes, which I believe is not that dangerous type of diabetes, right? And this diabetes, this is basically controlled in initial levels by doing the exercise, by having a good lifestyle. You can control your blood glucose level without having injections, right? But if your glucose level is not controlled, right, just because you are unable to do the walk or like any other things, if you, let's say that these type 2 diabetes patients or the type 1 diabetes patients, for example, in type 2 diabetes patient, they have a condition that during stress, even if they do not eat for 20 hours, but they are taking stress, they are anxious for any of the problem in their lives, their bodies continuously converting glycogen into glucose. So that's why their sugar levels go very high even if they do not eat it, right? So insulin at the time that it does not work. So this is what we need to care about, that diabetes, how diabetes is difficult, and this is a condition for the lifetime. Even if you lose weight, for example, if a person who was 80 kg initially, but he lose weight till 50 or 60 kg, but this diabetic condition won't reverse, unfortunately. Yes, your blood glucose level won't be that much higher, but this condition doesn't reverse, actually. Yes, this is what I have just said, that this condition cannot be reversed. Diabetes cannot be reversed. Diabetic, it's a condition that cannot be reversed. This is a condition that you have to live with. Yes, you can control it. You can keep your blood glucose level in healthy ranges by having the medicines or having insulin injections. But this is just you have to live with till the last breath of your life. So that's why we suggest, especially the new generation, they are very, very fond of eating donuts, sweets, cakes, chocolates, ice creams. Please do not eat them. Because as you can see that now we do not have many. Once in my childhood, we could only see a couple of students only, which are chubby in our classroom. But now whenever I being a teacher, I see many of the student girls and boys, they are not skinny at all, right? They have a healthy, they are overweight, right? So why is that so? Because you people, whenever you are hungry, you go out for some sweets, and these sweets are basically, they you just feel for your craving, but actually these sweets are doing the catastrophe in your body. They are stored as lipids in your body, and that's why causing diabetes. Now we have only a very short time left. So I think in I should use 10 minutes, right? So I should use these 10 minutes for solving some of the P1 question, right? Let me